Last night at the NFL honor ceremony, Josh Allen was named MVP. He became the first player in the NFL to record at least 25 touchdown passes, 10 touchdown runs, and fewer than 10 interceptions. He won the award over Lamar Jackson, despite Lamar besting him in nearly every statistical category. Allen received 27 of the 50 first-place votes, 4 more than Lamar, the smallest voting margin since 2003. My goodness. Since the NFL MVP was first awarded in 1957, Allen becomes just the third player to win the award in a season in which they were not named first-team All-Pro. Okay, a lot to unpack here. Super Bowl champ Ryan Clark, our guy here. RC, this is interesting. Tell me this. Do you feel like Josh Allen should have won MVP?
No, I believe that Lamar Jackson was
So co-MVP.
I wanted co-MVPs, right? Lamar Jackson was the MVP, and I talked about that during the season. But I also spoke about voter fatigue, and Shay knows this. He loves GOAT James. LeBron James should have more MVPs than he does, and I think sometimes these great players, these all-time great talents, begin to compete against themselves, and I think that's where Lamar Jackson is as well. It's also a narrative-driven award. Coming into the season, the narrative was that Josh Allen didn't have the requisite pieces around him to have an AFC championship contending team. And so if this team did play well enough to get there, then obviously Josh Allen went exceedingly above what this roster was. And the other piece of it was moments, right? Cam Newton had Heisman Trophy moments. He had MVP moments. That's why he got those awards. When you beat the Kansas City Chiefs and they're undefeated and you're the only team to truly beat them this season, you score on fourth down. That's a moment. When you go to L.A. and even though you lose, you put up 6 touchdowns. And now you play the Detroit Lions and you become one of the only teams to beat them as well, and you excel in that game. I believe some of those reasons are the reason he won. The problem is this. If you're going to stand on it, stand on it. If the same voters think you're the MVP, then you got to be the best quarterback in the league if we're telling everybody you're the most valuable quarterback in the league.
That's where it gets shaky. It's like, yo, you're the MVP, but you're not first team All-Pro?
How is that possible?
Yeah.
Hello. How is that possible?
We need answers.
Stephen A., we talked about this, and you've talked, we and I said, how is Mark Gasol the defensive player of the year, and he's second team all defensive? LeBron is first team. So you don't give it to a guy that's on the first team. Right. You give it to a guy that's on the second team. Lamar, I'm like, hold on. Now, the only thing I was like, well, maybe Saquon's going to win the MVP because that'll be like, Derrick Henry is second team All-Pro running back, but offensive player of the year is Derrick Henry. Yeah. How is that possible?
Yeah. But voter fatigue feels like an injustice. That feels like it's a personal thing. That's about me being sick of it. That's not about the player.
Right.
And that's not right.
Well, they didn't get fatigued to give it to Gretzky because he won it 9 times in a row. Yeah. So it just seems like it's in certain sports where they have voter fatigue. They didn't have fatigue to Shohei because keep winning it. Right. But I just look, and this is not a knock. And sometimes when you say, well, we think this guy should win.
That's the problem.
You're trying to poop on the other guy. That's not what I'm saying. We've had co-MVPs before, Stephen A. Steve McNair and Peyton Manning were co-MVPs. Mm-hmm. We've had Rookie of the Years in the NBA with Jason Kidd and Grant Hill. It's okay because it's just hard for me to see a scenario where one guy is first team All-Pro at the quarterback position. The second team quarterback beats him for the MVP. We should have just let Josh Allen be the first team quarterback.
Well, here's what I would say to y'all. And listen, I would have had no problem with the co-MVP. I would have had no problem if Lamar Jackson won the MVP. But I don't have a problem with Josh Allen winning it either. And we got to remember this as well. We say that we don't understand, but Josh Allen received 383 votes. Lamar Jackson received 362. So you have an abundance of people voting. So you might say the consistency that you're pointing to has more substance if it's the same voter. But, of the 383 or the 362, they might have felt the same way about Lamar Jackson being a league MVP, and the others might have felt the way they felt about Josh Allen. It's all about throwing it out there. In the end, here's what I think. You look at Lamar Jackson coming into this season, there were huge expectations for the Baltimore Ravens because they were loaded.
Yes.
There weren't huge expectations. We talked about Miami potentially with Tua if he were healthy. We talked about the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. We thought that the Buffalo Bills were going to nosedive because Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis had departed. And you had a revamped receiving core. You had a rookie out there. You didn't acquire Amari Cooper until midway through the season. but Josh Allen flat out balled. And so when we look at it from that standpoint, you got to take into account the level of expectations that were not placed on his shoulders. He's viewed as somebody who exceeded expectations. Lamar Jackson is viewed as somebody who lived up to expectations. And in some cases, that's what determines you getting the MVP.
Right, and that's why I said Lamar Jackson is playing against himself, though. He's competing against who he has been throughout his career because he's 1-2, because you expect, because of his high level of play. That's why the expectations are high for Baltimore, because you're adding Derrick Henry to what Lamar Jackson has already proved. And that's why I said it's about the narrative. Josh Allen wasn't supposed to compete at this high of a level as far as it pertained to team success. He was able to do that. He changed his game. He protected the football.
He did.
I don't think that any of us sit here and say to ourselves that Josh Allen didn't play at an MVP
He absolutely did.
level, because he did. And getting this award is in no way them poo-pooing the award and not saying that Josh Allen doesn't deserve it. But what I'm saying is I believe Lamar Jackson had the better individual year, and that's the reason Lamar Jackson was first team All-Pro.
But y'all all point, because y'all played the game, I did it, y'all all point to coaching. You point to what's happening on the other side of the ball. When we looked at the Baltimore Ravens and we had expectations for them, it wasn't just because of Lamar Jackson. It was because of the supplementary parts surrounding him on both sides of the ball, along with coaching, whereas McDermott was on a hot seat. The defense was revamped. The offensive receiving core was revamped. And Josh Allen still went out there and got them to the AFC Championship game.
But we did have expectations for Lamar. Did we have 41 touchdowns and less than 5 interceptions with 900 yards rushing?
No.
He exceeded the expectation. It's like we have expectations for LeBron. LeBron has exceeded expectations. No matter what you placed on him, he's exceeded them. No matter what we thought of Lamar Jackson, nobody thought Lamar could, because only Aaron Rodgers have gone 40-plus touchdowns and fewer than 5 interceptions. So we're talking about a historically great season. 40-plus touchdowns, fewer than 5 interceptions, 900 yards rushing.
Okay, this award is a season award.
Regular season.
Regular season. It has nothing to do with the playoffs.
Nothing.
Can I just change, what if the Baltimore Ravens would have went to the Super Bowl?
They still wouldn't have won it.
That's what I'm saying.
They still wouldn't have won it.
Like that's how I'm looking at it through the lens of yo, hold on, wait. If the Baltimore Ravens, just a thought, if they would have went to the Super Bowl and this would have happened, this would have been an uproar.
No, the thing is this though: if he goes to the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter. That's more the problem than anything with Lamar, is that we expect this type of play from him during the season, and we have to come to expect, or he has to raise his level of play in the playoffs. So it's not even a conversation, because I do believe people have seen it so many times.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn đã đến với kênh YouTube của mình. Những video của mình tạo là những video tô màu đây, và hôm nay mình sẽ lại tô màu những con vật cho các bạn xem này. Đây, những sản phẩm của mình, đây là những sản phẩm mình chưa tô nha. Sản phẩm mình tô xong thì nó sẽ có những màu